Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from a chilly southern Connecticut where it's a little overcast, about 29 degrees, so it's freaking cold for March. However, I think we're doing pretty good. We had a little bit of snow on Tuesday, I think it was, but it's already melted away and I am ready for spring. So welcome to Thursday's Viva Cafe con Leche.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Bueno,
Thank you.
buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru, from a chilly Tampa, Florida. It's 52 degrees. It was windy and chilly yesterday as well. I loved it. It was windy and chilly.
I wanted you to hear it twice, so I wanted you to say it twice.
And I don't know. When I was home this past weekend, it felt like it was supposed to feel in March. And I was on the way to the airport. Henny and I were like, in winter, it was thick. The clouds were out. Henny's like, I haven't driven in snow in so long, but we made it. And yeah, my flight was delayed because of it. Remember, I thought they were saying we were ready to board. No, it was delayed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so here we are. I'm in Tampa. She's back. She's in Connecticut. And today's show is going to be really great. I mean, the one we had on Tuesday was very important too. Choice of mistake. So this is a continuation of that. So let's do what it do. Let's start
Yeah,
our
this is a good one. This is gonna hit some buttons.
morning, Bessie.
This is going to hit some buttons with individuals that we're speaking to, but also it's a button pusher for both Gladiator Guru and I. When somebody makes the statement, I had no choice, we have a lot to say about that. We have a lot to say about that. And it might be stuff that you might not want to hear, but you know us, the reason we are doing what we do is so that we can push you to be a much better version of yourself. Good morning, Milagros. So this is a really, really important conversation. It's probably one of the foundations when it comes to accountability. And then from there, we're going to be able to move forward and let go because we are halfway through the month of March. Could you freaking believe this? So we're halfway through the month. And that means that after this, I think we have like five more shows in March talking about accountability. And then we start the quarter of taking action, understanding self. And so it's going to be a lot of fun because we're going to be really getting into why we are the way we are. And I get to pull out some nerdy science, my geeky mind. So this is exciting for me. Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, Tiffany Bryan. Jonathan, it's nice to see you. We always love having you on. And Tiffany in the house. So let's set our intention for today, and then let's do our mantra, and then we'll get on the conversation. All right. So as always on Viva Cafe con Leche, our goal is to be intentional. We want you to feel that way as well. So start your day with an intention. Go throughout your day intentional. What that intention is up to you. So decide upon that intention, whether you do it right at this moment and make that declaration, or you do it right after the show, or you create an intention throughout your day. You add more. But whatever it is, just be intentional about your day and
Grateful. When you live in gratitude, all you see is endless possibilities because everything around you is beautiful, it's joyful. You even notice that the leaves are dancing when you walk by. So be intentionally grateful. That always serves a great purpose in your whole road of life. Milagros. You get your journals. I'm shipping them out tomorrow.
yes. And speaking of, this came in the mail yesterday. So the print book is available if you are looking to purchase it. So that makes three, and this is the one that Milagros is in, her badass story 2, and the first one. And we are actually getting ready to create number 4. Number 4 is set to release July 24th. I think it's July 24th. So we are actually taking applications as we speak, which is absolutely fabulous. We're very excited about this. And then I'm thinking towards the end of the year having a big celebration with the authors for those that want to attend a virtual celebration, because everybody's all over the place. People are even in different countries, but it's important to celebrate these women who were brave enough to share their stories, so that they can empower other women. So this is something that turned into an idea and has become part passion project and actually part of my business now. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited to the direction that it's going to go, because not only are we going to be doing her badass story, the series, that's what we're doing, but we're also going to branch into specialty things like her badass business story, her badass financial story, her badass recovery story, anything that we can celebrate women specifically to say, hey, you know what? She came from nothing, and look how much money she's making now. She started from nothing and she's built up this phenomenal business or career, and to celebrate those pieces. We can even have her badass health story, from individuals who were at brink of death and came back out of it. So anything to keep that momentum going, to keep building on that courageousness of women. And yes, we will get to men at some point, because I think that men have need to be heard as well from a sensitive perspective, and I also had the idea of their badass love story, highlighting individuals who've had amazing love stories, whether they were short or long. And this is interesting because this is coming from an individual who's been burned twice in relationships. But I do believe that there are fairy tales out there. The fairy tale is not the typical fairy tale. It's what we make it. It's what we believe it to be. And what it is, it's based on unconditional love and honor and respect for one another. So anyway, let's do thank you for allowing me to do all that. Gladiator Guru, I appreciate that.
No, because it is phenomenal. And I think that everybody should experience that at one point. But I also wanted to show, because you didn't use your mug today, and neither did I, because I was rushing.
I used it on Tuesday.
The
Viva mug. Yeah.
But we have Viva notebooks. They ran out. But I'm going to be ordering more once this gets pushed over, I hope in the next day or so. So I could order them now.
Yeah. You got to remind me to do that.
These are, it's a blank page, because you all know I don't like to be ruled on ruled paper. But in the back, it has the mantra. I am a disruptor. I am unapologetically courageous. Over here it says, become intentionally grateful. And it says the Viva Cafe con Leche show with the Gladiator Guru and the Badass Buddha. And then it has that over there. So if you're interested, let me know. And then, so I could know how many to order, because I'm going to order enough. I split it between, some people bought it at my workshop that I had at UB the other day. But I think they're so adorable. They fit in your purse. These are small.
Yes, they are adorable.
And Palante. I'm sorry. But yeah. So now, yes, I think her badass love story is phenomenal, because you were burned twice. And sometimes we need to know that it wasn't burnt twice. You just went through 2 experiences to make you better in the third.
I agree. I'm glad. I'm glad that you reworded that, because that was a little drama queen coming out there to say that. But you're right. I would not be doing what I am today had I not experienced that. I also would have never met Gladiator Guru had I not been with that particular person. So this is, there's reasons for everything, and the gratitude is absolutely. I'm filled with the gratitude because my life wouldn't be the way it is. You always talk about that Gladiator Guru, how we can't know the light unless we've known the dark. We can't know the good unless we've known the bad. And I think for me, I needed that slap in the face. I needed that wake up call because I really didn't understand it. Even understanding self, when what we've been working on for the first 3 months of this year to help everybody is to get you to have a better understanding of yourself and to be honest with yourself. And it's not easy. We're not saying that it's easy. We never said it was easy. We always say that it's not easy, but it's worth it. And for me to have to come to terms with the person that I was, thinking in my head that I was always, oh, I'm a really nice person and I'm a good, kind person. And realizing that, I actually played a huge role in that drama. I lived for that drama because I was coming from such a place of lack. And then deciding, I really don't want to be that person. I really don't like being that person. And I had to be accountable to it and then decide, okay, well, who do I want to be and how do I want to change my life? And the how will present itself when you do the work. Say, what do I need to do? Well, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do the work. I have to learn. I have to face things. And then all of a sudden your life shifts, and it's worth it all day long. It doesn't matter how old you are when you do it. Just do it. Just start.
You have to start. And you know what? That's very courageous for you to even say that you like the drama, because a lot of people won't say that, and the choice is always yours. You said, I like the drama. I like being there. But the thing is, it's choice. One thing I always talk about is one day you meet someone and you can fall in love instantly. You just love the way they smell, the way they smile, the sound of their voice, the way it harmonizes to your audience, which is all of you. And you're in love, right? And it just happens.
Yep.
Why is it so hard for people to understand that falling out of love happens just the same way? There's no rhyme or reason to it. But because we don't understand it, because we fear any consequences of or lashback from the person that we're no longer in love with, we look for excuses. Well, you don't do this right. Well, I'm tired of this. You're always yelling. You're always nagging. We put labels on what it is. The same way we say, I fell in love with you. You can wake up one morning, look at that person and say, what the hell am I doing here? I don't want to be here no more. And you know what? It's okay. And we have to respect that person because they were honest. But what do we do? What do? We bully them. We abuse them. How dare you after everything I've done for you? When we do what we do for the people we love, we do it out of choice. And a lot of people don't want to accept that responsibility. Well, guess what? The same way you fell in love or someone fell in love with you, rest assured, everything in this life, including ourselves, is temporary. And when you learn to accept that you must enjoy your life in the freaking moment, you can accept those hiccups that wound us because we are loved, because we want to be with this person, or we want to continue to live this certain lifestyle. But everything comes to an end. Remember, endings are sad yet necessary. And for every beginning, there's an end for new beginnings. And when you ingrain that in your soul and replace all that negative self-talk with facts like that, you will be able to handle every obstacle that comes your way like a pro. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. What I'm saying, it's life. Make the choice to live in your moment and accept things as they are, not as you want them to be. because you choose to set yourself up for disappointment.
Yep.
Okay. Mantra.
All right. Let's do the mantra and then we'll get into this conversation. That was a good segue, by the way, into the conversation. All right.
Awesome.
So here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
Okay. So, conversation. All right, here we go. This is the conversation. And please don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe. Make sure you let everybody know that you're here with us today. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, we are trying to build up. We're not trying. We are looking to build up our following. We really want to get out there. We have product that we're putting out this year. Like truly putting out this year. And we want everybody to be a part of the Viva show, of this content. So please like, share, follow, try not to hoard us selfishly to keep us right, in your pocket, which we appreciate. We love it, but we would love to be shared. And here is what our conversation is going to be today. I had no choice. How many times have you said this? How many times have you heard somebody say this? I had no choice. Okay. So we're going to talk about, this is part of accountability. This statement, I had no choice. Okay. So, Migdalia, good morning. Good morning. Think about this. All right. How many times have you said this or heard this? Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
We're going to break this apart.
We are.
I had no choice. This is saying what, Gladiator Guru? When somebody makes that statement, I had no choice. Obviously, we know what it says, but what is it really saying? What are they really telling us?
That I chose to not have a choice. I chose to follow the masses. I chose to follow everyone else's lead except myself. And one of my biggest thing with that, you know why I had no choice was very, hi Miggy, was very out of hand for me. Like it was just too much. Like own your choices was with the job. People say I had no choice. I could have lost my job. I could have, and I constantly kept hearing that. And then when someone stays in an abusive relationship, or when someone stays in a job just because, or someone just stays stagnant. Well, I had no choice. And then they'll go on to say, I didn't have enough money. I needed this much saved. So when you say you had no choice, you have an expectation for people to meet you where you are. But do you know where you are? Because in making a statement, I had no choice, speaks volumes about who you are and where you're choosing to be in this moment. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. To me, it's simple. I had no choice tells me.
She said it's simple, like I went overboard and shit.
That you want, no, never. You never go overboard.
All the time.
It's you don't want accountability for it. I had no choice. You are putting the blame on other people because you don't want to take responsibility for staying or not doing it. This is what happens. The reason people stay where they are, there's a lot of reasons. We talked about this. It could be fear. It could be low self-worth. It could be self-doubt. It could be self-sabotage, whatever. But what you're basically saying is I had no choice is that I didn't like the choices. So it's so much easier to say I had no choice. In other words, if you're in a relationship, or let's say if you're in a job that you can't stand, and you say, oh, I have no choice. I didn't want to lose my job. They were making me do something that I want to do, but I had no choice. I didn't want to lose my job. That's what the choice was. You had a choice. You either stay and do what they're asking, or you leave the job and you're out of work. So call it what it is. I chose to stay and do this because I didn't want to lose my job. This is really important to me. I need the money. Whatever your reasoning is, that is your reason. There's nothing like Gladiator Guru and I cannot say, well, that's a stupid reason. That is your reason and is a legit reason. And we have to be respectful to your choice. And we are always that we have conversations on this a lot. We talk about the fact that we may not agree with your choice, but it makes no difference what the hell our opinion is, because we are who we are and you are who you are, and we have no idea what choice works better for you. But both of us do agree we would much rather a person own their choice and then be truthful to themselves and to other people about it, to say, this was my choice. It was either stay on the job and have to deal with this or leave the job. And I decided that I'm going to stay on the job because this is important to me, blah, blah, blah. You don't even have to give an excuse. You just say, because I chose this, not, I had no choice. I had no choice in the matter. This was the only way no, there's always a choice.
Always.
We just, it's not the choice we want to make. That's really what it comes down to. It's not, or we're afraid. Like we don't know what the outcome's going to be. I have no choice. I have to stay for this job. You have a choice. And maybe when you make that choice, and listen, I deal with this all the time. There's always elements of my life that fear comes up, that making that choice is going to be challenging. And you tend to start to, catastrophize, and you start to look at the future, the what ifs. That's what always drives the I had no choice, is saying, I'm not going to take responsibility for this. So I am going to say I had no choice, because what I really do, I do have a choice, but I'm very, very worried and scared about the what ifs. And that's just call it what it is. And it's not a vulnerable thing to just call yourself out on that. It's actually a very empowering thing to say, well, you know what? I actually did have a choice and I chose to do this. And it might not be the right choice, but that's what I chose.
I think to be it's the bottom line. I mean, there's a lot of words. They're normalizing too many words. Stop lying to yourself. That's it. If lying to yourself makes you vulnerable, then accept the positive sides of that. But stop lying to yourself and then getting angry when I don't want to chew your lie, nonetheless swallow it.
Yeah.
So if you are honest with yourself, then you can lead yourself to the water and drink it. That's you holding yourself accountable. The truth is not pretty. The truth can wound. It can hurt you. It can make you have some doubts. But if you walk it, it is the best path that you will ever walk. Do we lie to ourselves? Do we tell like white lies when somebody says, do I look fat? And they look plump. Yeah. But it's gonna, that's not nice. How do you feel? Instead of lying, say, well, how do you feel? Because you know what? Fat people are not unhealthy people unless you're unhealthy to begin with. So we need to learn how to just ask them, because sometimes we ask questions we don't want an answer to.
Yes. Oh, good point, Gladiator Gurus.
But if you redirect that question back to me, then maybe I can answer it with such an honesty in my soul that I'm going to be happy. So if someone says, do I look fat in this? They chose the outfit. They chose to put it on. They're asking you as they're looking at themselves in the mirror. So they are liking it, but there's a bit of self-doubt. So you would say, how do you feel in that outfit? Well, that's not what I asked you. It's not, but this is about you. And if we redirect, especially women, if we're empowering women and we redirect that choice back to them, we are empowering them. So I had no choice. It's something that we have to sit in. And what's the things you were doing? Reset, rehook, what's the, we have to reflect.
Reflect.
That's what I was
Reflect.
We have to sit with ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves, those difficult questions. And when you learn not to lie to yourself, you can write a question down, get it out of your head. Because the longer you keep it in here, the bigger the monster grows.
Oh, yeah.
Choose to speak it out and let it come back into your ears. And then you're going to say, oh my God, I was so worried about that. I got this. Choose you. When you choose you, then you won't say, I had no choice. You will be so empowered that you will be a decisive person, the good, the bad, the ugly. But it all goes back on you. And I love that the Badass Buddha uses words like vulnerability. I love that she says it in a way that's very comforting. And sometimes I wish I could speak like that, but it's not my gig. And when I do, I'm like, oh my God, it's like the Italian part of me when I sit on my hands so I can just
So
not get overworked over something.
You have no words.
I feel like I'm in a straitjacket. So when I try to
Well, that's natural, right? You know that, right? If
well,
you tie an Italian's hands behind their back, they're speechless, right?
yes,
You know,
that's why.
and if you tie one hand behind their back, they have a speech impediment.
Listen, when I know that I'm going to lose my temper, whether it's with the executive director or something, I purposely put my hands under my thighs. And I'm not, and I'm, all right. And so what you're saying is then that hand comes out and the finger goes up. So yeah. But what I'm saying is that I had no choice about what? People, hello, Natasha. Everybody that's on right now, tell me one thing you have no choice about. Tell Viva. Write it in the comments. Let's have an interactive I had no choice conversation, because I may not realize something that there's no choice.
And I've got to jump off in a minute to take the little one out to the bus, but I'm going to leave with this. When I had to come to terms with the choices that I made in my relationships, man, did it suck. Like, man, did I get pissed off at myself, because when I started to really regurgitate, reflecting on it and looking back and going, oh my God, that really was a choice. I chose to stay. I chose to ignore. I chose to not say anything. I chose to just keep blinders on, one after another after another. The beauty is that once you regurgitate that, like once you just throw that all up, it frees you to say, but now my choice is this. I'm choosing to see everything. I'm choosing to say no. I'm choosing to be in a healthy relationship. I'm choosing to pick myself first, as opposed, to fill my cup first so that I can help other people. I'm choosing to live a mindful life. And all of a sudden it becomes very empowering. And when you do that, you also attract a lot more phenomenal things into your life. Before, my choices kept me in that drama. My choices kept me effing miserable. My choices kept me at a level where I thought I was happy, but I wasn't, until I accepted that truth, until I really looked at the bigger picture and said, oh my God, I'm really not happy. And this is not okay. And then you beat yourself up and you say, how did I put up with this for so long? How did I let this individual treat me this way for so long? Or individuals treat me this way? It was my choice. Ugh, God, I wanted to vomit. It was my choice. It was my choice to allow that, which means, though, that it's my choice to no longer allow that. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of accountability, is taking it and then knowing that from this point going forward, I have the control of my life.
Yeah, and thank you, because you know what? And if control's too much of a powerful word to you, because who wants to control anything?
Right.
What you want to, and only because you know how we're control freaks, like when we're cleaning and then somebody wants to help clean, I'll help you. And then I'm like, no, I got it, because they're not gonna do it the way I do it. So that's sort of a control, right? But I think that I just lost my train of thought.
If control's is a strong word for you, that's what you started off with. If control's a strong word for you.
I think that when we decide to step out of the shadow of fear, el miedo se deja en la gaveta. I grew up with my dad saying that. Fear you leave in your top drawer. You don't take it with you. You know, and it's like shedding a whole person. You know, get out of that shadow. Don't let it control you. Don't let it overwhelm you. You know, fear is success turned inside out. And we all want to be successful in whatever endeavor we initiate, but we self-sabotage because to be successful also frightens us. Am I going to be able to do well? Am I going to be able to maintain? Am I going to make it profitable? Are people going to like my stuff? We're always thinking outside of ourselves. And the choice we need to make, let me tell you, this is this poem, and I'm probably going to mess it up, so it's not verbatim. But when I used to teach, I always read this to them, and I would break it down and we would have conversation. We're not going to do that today, but it's about choices. It says, I'm walking down the street. There's a hole in the road, and I fall into it. I get out. The next day, I'm walking down the street. There's a hole in the wall. I see it. I fall in. I climb out. The next day, I'm walking down the street. I see the hole. I know it is there. I fall in it. It's getting harder to climb out. The next day, I'm walking down the street. I see the hole. I know it's there. I walk around it. See, sometimes we know things are going to be there. And that's our, oh, well, you see, I had no choice. It was there. I was trying to rush and I fell in, or I wasn't paying attention. A car blew a horn. It frightened me. I fell in. There's always something. Well, like Lori was saying, that we need to fill our cup before we pour out. And a lot of us say, well, I can't. My kids come first. I have to do everything for my kids. You cannot be half-assed for your kids. That's just the honest truth. When you fail to walk in your truth, when you fail to be honest with yourself, when you fail to choose wisely, you fail those you love. That's just the honest truth. You cannot half-ass yourself for your children, your husband, your family. Because when you choose to place yourself, for me, it's the Mary Kay mantra. I used to sell it in 91, and it's always, and the reason I sold it was because of that. She said, God, me, then everybody else. Because my kids will not be served properly and in abundance of love and safety if I wasn't present in my now. And that's how it is. So when people say, well, I can't do this, I haven't been able to go to the doctor because my kids, I got to do this. No, you're choosing to avoid your life and live in the shadows of everyone else's. And whenever you forget that, remember, for those who have been on a plane, they specifically say, place the mask on your face first before assisting anyone else. Because without you, how would they make it? Without you, how would they be raised? So you got to think about that. You must always choose yourself. You got to cultivate that self-trust, that self-belief, that self-respect to ultimately reach the unconditional self-love, which is understanding that we are perfect in our own imperfections, that we don't know everything because every day we're working on ourselves. And to know that what I have learned thus far in my life, I will be of service in a positive way. I will be of service in kindness and gratitude. See, when people walk around with attitudes and they're like, oh, but this and this, it's a choice. because whatever happened outside of you is just that, it's outside of you. If where you've placed yourself in the environment with people, places, and things have not fed your spirit, then you need to remove yourself from it, because you need to feed your spirit. Kindness, gratitude, grace. That way you nurture your ego, expelling anxiety, which anxiety is the fear of fear. That's why you become impulsive. That's why you self-sabotage. People say kill the ego. No, nurture the ego. It's like your best friend. It's your sidekick. It's it's there for you. When you feed your spirit kindness, gratitude, grace, and you nurture your ego, love, then guess what? It's balance. And you'll be able to make wiser choices. But you must choose yourself, because at the end of the day, you are all you have. You get yourself up in the morning, whether you're sick or not. You shower, you get dressed, you go to work, whether you're sick or not. You chose that, but you do it. So you must follow the same way you show up at your job, at whatever company you work at, and you show up and you take your break when they tell you, and you leave when they tell you, right? That's how you must live your life. You must get up for yourself. You must show up for yourself. You must choose yourself on rainy days, on snowy days, on sunshine-filled days. See, I love gray, cloudy days. I love rainy days. Those are my favorite. So hold on. Jesse Melendez wrote, I chose to stay with him. Then I chose to leave. I chose me. My other one is my daughter gets mad because I work long hours. I tell her I have no choice. I have to pay bills. I have two. When I made my own choice, and the other is I have no choice. I get it. You made your choice to choose you and your children. And where you say you have no choice, meaning you must work to pay your bills, and your daughter understands that. So if she gets angry with you when you're not working, spend an hour doing something she likes. Go get ice cream. Ask her about her day. Be very interested in what she has to say about how she's feeling in her life, because then that's you navigating her to make wise choices when you're not around.
But just
That's her. I'm
but just
sorry.
no, I was just saying, but just keep in mind that you have to work to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's a choice. It's a choice, but be proud of yourself for that. Be proud of the fact that you are responsible and you are doing that. And like Gladiator Guru says, is that in the off time, make space for her. But when you're in that job and working those hours, go with gratitude and say, I'm so happy, that I'm so grateful that I have this job, that I am working these hours to make this money. And you never know what would open up. Maybe if you say, I really would like a job that I don't have to work as many hours, but I work the same amount of money. You could put that out there, and that could potentially come to you. You can manifest to that. But it's just, again, it's about owning. You have the choices. You have to work these hours and to make the money. So that is the choice, and be proud of yourself
That's
for
it.
for for
But I
doing it.
get but I get what she said. She said
Of
one is
course.
I have a choice, and one is I don't have a choice. And but it means the same. Listen, Jesse, I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Okay? I know your story and I'm proud of you. Cindy Vega, are you the one that I didn't call back yesterday? Say yay or nay, because I have you down as Cynthia. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry today, too. I might be slagging. I worked 11 to 7. I came out of work. I rushed here, brewed my coffee, and got on this show. So, oh, okay, mamita. After this show, I'm going to sleep because I've been up since 8 o'clock yesterday morning. Didn't sleep at all, and then just got out of work at 7:27. I think that's when I texted you, right, Laura? So,
Yep. Yep.
and then I got to be at work again at 3. And that's my choice, because let me tell you something. We all have a gift. We all have a talent to live an abundant life. We all
Yes.
do. There's no lucky person. Okay? There's no luck. The badass Buddha said, manifest it. And when you manifest, to me, I take that as prayer. And they say, be specific when you're speaking with Yahweh. Be specific when you say, Father God, this is what I would like. Put it out there. And then if that is your purpose, and if he sees that that is the right path for you, it will open up. It will open like the Red Sea. You got to believe and you got to have faith in something bigger than you. And I'm not imposing this on anybody, and then you choose to speak it out into existence with specifics. Know what you want. And the I am of all things, that is you and only you know exactly what you want. So be specific. Don't put it out there. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? No, be specific with. And if you don't know, then be specific. Well, right now, at this time in my life, I do not know. That is also a choice. You're making a choice to say, ding, ding, something that the badass Buddha said earlier. Oh, okay. I better get on the ball because I should know this, or I need to know this.
Yeah, don't shit on yourself too much.
When you utter, I don't know, I really don't know. That's you speaking to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, get on the ball. Let's find out what it is that we need.
Yeah.
Okay? Because even when you say it out loud, remember, everything you say out this way comes back in this way. So that's why when you speak negative about yourself, you're speaking it. You're not only thinking it, you're speaking it. So it goes back in, and then it's going to believe you. So you must, when you say, I don't know, it's going to come back in, and then start writing. Why don't I know this? I like this, and then make columns. I like this, I like that, and then eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Because everything you wrote is something you like, right? So then put them in order of how you like it, or what you desire, or what's that word I'm looking for? What it is you want going forward. I can't even think of the word. But those are choices. When you choose for you, you're on top of the world. When others choose for you, you can't complain.
That's right.
And you gave up your right.
And that's what we're doing. We want you to be empowered by that. We want you, the next time you hear, we want you to be, here's the awareness piece. Aware, acknowledge, accept, and be accountable. The next time this sentence comes out of your mouth, I had no choice. We want you to stop yourself and sit with that and say, what is really the answer when you say that? It's not that you had no choice. It's that you are choosing this because it's easier. I'm afraid. I don't know what else to do. There's all these unanswered questions, and that's the point that Gladiator Guru was trying to make, is that the more clear we are on who we are and what we want, then it makes more sense. And so we say things like, okay, I can't get out of this relationship. It's not, I don't have a choice. I have no money. I have no career. But whatever, but I have no choice. I have to stay in this relationship. Okay. What is it that you really want? Do you really want to be in that relationship? Do you really want to have no money? Do you really want to not have a career? What is it that you want? And if you say, I want to be happy, I want to live my life, I want to be independent, I want to have somebody that respects me and loves me, then you have to say, okay, I do have a choice. I'm choosing to stay in this relationship because I don't have the money, I don't have the career. Then that opens the door to say, well, then what do I need to do about this? What do I need to do about the money? What do I need to do about the career? It is there are levels of bravery, and don't beat yourself up about this. Don't sit there and say, I should have, or I should do this, or I should have done that. Don't shit on yourself. You have levels of bravery, and then at each level that you get to, honor yourself with it. Oh, I did this. I achieved this. Maybe you're not in that relation. You're in that relationship right now, but you say, but in a year, my goal is to be out of this relationship because I'm going to go into some training. I'm going to find a better job, or I'm going to find a job. I'm going to do all of these little things. I'm going to all on the back end, all on down low, so that the individual is not aware that I am working on myself, depending on the type of relationship that you're in. If they're in a relationship where there's no love and they really don't give a rat's ass about you, that's different. But if you're in a very controlling relationship, you have to be very sneaky about it. And then you do what needs to be done for you. And then you will start to see things open up for you. It's trusting in that process. When we are accountable to ourselves, we also understand very clearly about trusting in the process. You have to, because now you're not saying you're just leaving it up to fate, leaving it up to, what you're doing is you're saying, I trust that God will lead me. I trust that the universe or the higher power will lead me, but I am very clear on what it is that I want. You cannot be led by any higher source unless you are also very clear on what you want. And sometimes it starts with what you do not want. It starts with, I don't want this in my life. Then you flip it. I don't want this. So if I don't want this, then I must want this. And then that's what you put your energy to. And then you say, I'm accountable to myself. These are the choices that I have made. They suck, but they were my choices. And what am I going to do about it? I either stay in it and accept that fact that I made that choice, or I do something about it. But here's the other thing, okay? When you say, I had no choice, it's giving you permission to not be accountable. And it's giving you permission also to sort of play the victim and use, not even sort of, to play the victim and to use that piece with any conversation that you have with regards to your lack of moving forward. And I know this because I've done it. And it tells people, well, I had no choice, and this is this way, and blah, blah, blah. And it keeps you in that state of victimization. Whereas you say, oh God, I did have a choice and I chose to be this way. So, all right, I got to own it. I gotta woman up to it. And I've got to say, all right, you know what? I'm either going to stay or I'm not going to stay. If I'm going to stay, then this is the reason. And I'm going to back myself up, and I'm not going to hide behind, I had no choice. Or this is what I'm going to do now because I feel empowered. And people gravitate towards that. A lot of times when we say I had no choice, friends get tired of hearing that excuse. I had no choice, unless they're with you in it. They're playing the victim in their lives as well. You'll always find misery loves company. But I love when people call me out on my shit. I love it. My own kids do it sometimes. But that's the beauty of the relationship that I have with Gladiator Guru. She is on my gratitude list. I have said this to her. There's things that she doesn't know that I haven't said because I'm not trying to gain, her love by telling her these things. I appreciate more than she could ever understand when she calls me out on shit, because it's hard to hear sometimes, but she's doing it not to be a jerk. She's doing it to make me grow further. She's doing it because she knows what I'm capable of. And for that, I love it. And the beauty is that that's reciprocal, because even though we're not big expectation people, she has an expectation that I will be the same way. And that's a good expectation because it's a legitimate one. And I will call her out on certain things, and she appreciates that. She doesn't get mad about it because it's a growth thing. She knows where it's coming from me, and I know where it's coming from her. But we would not be able to have that type of relationship unless we were both legitimately accountable for our lives, because we wouldn't be able to handle it. Like, if she said something to me and I didn't want to be accountable, oh, how she could say that to me. That's awful. Blah, blah, blah. I would say all this stuff, and I don't. She was really hurt my feelings. No, she didn't. I'm hurting my feelings because she's right, and I didn't want to hear it. I don't want to be accountable to it.
I hello Arlene and Darlene.
Yes.
Hola Lydia. Let me tell you something. Backtrack on some of the stuff you said. When you trust the process and you pray, you have to trust the process. You have to be in 100%. And I get what the badass Buddha says, and you have to decide or not decide. But when you for me, when you're trusting in the process, people think that I'm all over the place. I've heard it from family. I've heard it from friends. I heard it from family that told me that someone who I don't even communicate with is commenting on my life. But then that's how the cookie crumbles in many places. But I always pray. It don't matter if I'm traveling from here to Connecticut. Is this the time to go? Is this what I have? Lead the way, I shall follow. When I trust the process, I do everything I have to do, but I pray first. And then I look for signs, because to me, as crazy as people may pin me to be, as all over the place as I know I can be, that's just how I've always been. I've always made choices that many, including my immediate family, just didn't understand. And then they think that that's a segue for them to give me their opinion.
I love when that happens.
And I've always been who I am. And when she said about people who like, oh, I had no choice, I have no tolerance for that. People who get defensive really easily are very sensitive. When they ask you for something and then you tell them and then they get butthurt, I have very, very low tolerance for that. I have always been the one. I have walked out of unhappy relationships. All my four, two, I was married twice, and then I had two long-term living. I've walked out on all of them, and I jokingly say, if my husband didn't die, I would have left him already too, because when I don't feel like I need to be somewhere, then I leave. I pick myself up and I leave. Why? Because I'm all I have. And if I split myself into all these pieces, if I give myself totally to somebody, then who am I? And I learned that at a young age. And I'm not saying this fits for everybody, because it's a lonely road. I'm not going to lie. When I have always had to be the one making decisions, it was lonely. Do I look back and say, oh, I shouldn't? No. I love myself. I love that I have always been brave. It's not for everybody. Some people need to weigh it out. And I like one of them I left. I was still in love. Almost 14 years later, I was still in love, but nothing was changing. Nothing was changing. And my children were small at that time, and it did affect them. And in that part, it's like, But what all that to say is, choices are not easy just because you know it's going to be better for you going forward. They are difficult to make in the now. When we focus too much in going into the future as to how is it going to be here, there, prepare before you make any changes. Make a checklist. Do I have 3 months rent available in my savings account? Do I have the assistance of someone helping me move out in a heartbeat? Or I want to move across state lines. Do I have a connection there? Do I have this? Make a checklist for whatever change it is you're making. Just like we're doing quarterly on this. Just like last year, my resolution wasn't for the year. It was quarterly, and I accomplished every goal I set for myself in that year because I did it every 3 months. Set it out. See what works for you. Everybody has a different methodology. But when you get to learn yourself, you are going to be amazed at how fucking phenomenal you are.
Yep.
But the bottom line is, you must believe in who you are, with your flaws and with your flowers, because you come with both. When Badass Buddha said something earlier about the darkness and then the bad thoughts, you know what? People associate darkness with evil, and that is so totally not true.
Right.
how are we going to enjoy the sunshine-filled days if we don't know where darkness came from? How do we enjoy flowers and trees and vegetables? They all were a seed planted deep into the darkness in order for it to come out strong.
And they need the darkness. We need it. It's a
We
rest.
need it.
It's a rest. There's even flowers that come out in the dark. That's like they specifically bloom at night, which is fabulous. I want to say one thing that just came up. You made me think about this. There are
One
things
thing,
that,
I'm going to hold you accountable. One
okay.
thing.
There are times where we can say, like, I have no choice. Like, I have to do this in this
Like, I'm
order.
tired, but I have to get up and do this, right?
But you have a choice of how you feel about it. So I'm not going to give details on the story, but a situation happened to a friend of mine that she wasn't expecting. And in her head, it was moving in this direction, but all of a sudden she was told, okay, we can't move in this direction until we deal with this situation. So there was no choice. That situation had to be dealt with prior to the new situation coming. Okay. So the choice is this: do I let it rock? Do I let it knock me down? Or do I push forward, deal with this situation to create that outcome that I want to have? So in the end, a situation might not, like, you have to go into that direction. That's the choice that you have to go, but you still choose your response to it. And then you can choose, do I go in that direction or do I not go in that direction?
That's what I was going to say.
Still have a choice.
It's a choice.
So when you start to make that decision, you know what? I didn't have a choice on this. This just came up. Take that back, sit with it and say, okay, yes, I do. This was unexpected, true enough, but I have a choice here. I have a choice to either go this direction or this direction within that realm.
Mm-hmm.
And you own it and understand that you have the emotions to back it up. Like your emotions are your choice too. And believe me, it's very empowering when you stop and say, okay, I did not expect this. I did not expect that. Okay. So here's my choice. This is now that this is presented in front of me, I have a choice now to make based on this current situation. Shit happens. It really does. So it is bold for us to say when somebody says I have no choice. Sometimes stuff is chosen for us, but then from once that new situation is presented, you have a choice.
You have a choice to dedicate your full time to it, accept it for what it is, and do it with a smile. You know, even if you just smile, when you just smile, your spirit don't know you're faking it. It's going to be okay. And then before you know it, you're in the flow of things. Now, going back to what she was about choices, you know, if anybody knows me, they know that I'm not going to say impulsive because we're just not going to choose that word. Okay. I am spontaneous.
Nice.
And right before I self-isolated, I said through prayer, because the year before I prayed and it didn't happen. The year in 2021, my mom passed away in March. So I said, okay, now I'm not a caregiver now. I'm going to do my Camino because I promised myself to do a Camino for every year that my husband was paralyzed with ALS. And then for 4 years, I was taking care of my mom. I could have had them all done then, but things happen. So you wait. So I prayed on it, but it didn't come to pass in 2021. I went to Vegas. I went to Texas. I went to California, but I didn't go on my Camino. And so through my prayers, it didn't lead me there. I went in 2022. Now in 2022, I was painting my purses and selling them. I don't know what else I was doing. I know I was doing something else. So I gathered up my money. Oh, I launched my coffee. And I said, I'm going to do it this year. I prayed on it and everything was opening up. And this year I went with Iritza. She's not on today for some reason. So I took all my money that I made and I flew to Portugal, from Portugal, walked to Spain, I don't buy much. You got a backpack. And I was talking to the badass Buddha, and I said, when I come back, I'm going to be broke. And she says, don't say that, manifest, whatever. But I knew I was going to be broke because I brought all my savings, right? And I was. So I had a hustle at selling my coffee, at selling my coffee mugs. I hustled at painting purses, putting out there to pay my mortgage and my bills. And because I didn't have a job and I don't like working, I'm just going to put it out there. Don't like working for anybody else. But what happened? I was happy. Then I self-isolated and I discovered so much more about me that this year it just marks totally different direction that I'm choosing to go in for myself. And I'm going to bring enough women with me. What the badass Buddha has going on with her badass story, let me tell you, she already said the next book is going to come out. If you have a story to tell, connect with her. Because this year should be about all of us, Lydias, the Arlenes and Darlenes, the Migs, all of us, the Milagros. We need to say no más to fear and si se puede to our dreams and our goals. You just got to trust in the process. You got to choose to believe in you. You got to choose to say, Papa Dios, guide me. I always pray for clarity and direction. And I always say when I'm like, you know me, I'm sorry, but I just can't talk to you right now because I know I messed up big time today because I have a very bad temper, although that has been curbed. But what I'm saying about the Spain trip is that I chose to go knowing that I didn't have backup. And yeah, my mortgage was late, but what happened? It was late. What they were going to do, threaten me? It was late.
There's the
It was late. But I chose to create memories. I want to deal with my consequences when they come. And that was the consequence I had to deal with. All of us are different. What I'm saying is, when you learn that I am, that is you, you don't have to give anybody explanations of the choices you make or the choices you fail to make. Nobody should demand you to explain the why.
That's right.
As long as you know the why, as long as you are so in tune with who you are, knowing what it is you want, and knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable, maybe for your children, maybe for your spouse, and for yourself. But the end game is what you're seeing. And you know that in order to get to that medal, you have to go get wet in the murky waters.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you chose something does not mean that it's going to be rainbows and sunshine. There's no unicorns ready to fly you over the muddy waters. You got to get down and dirty in it. And guess what? That builds character, that builds courage, and that builds a knowing that anything that comes your way, if you have the right attitude, you can conquer whatever it is. That's a choice, though.
Yes. Yes, it is. And that's beautiful. We're going to end it on
Hi,
that because
baby.
that was absolutely phenomenal.
I'm
So thank you
amazing.
for that, Iritza. You are. I mean, Iritza, I said.
I am.
Margarita, good morning, Iritza. We're happy that you're here.
Buenos dias.
All right. So what's coming up? We're still in accountability month, right? So for next week, who rules your world? We're going to be talking about the power of accountability. It is true power. And then Thursday is observe, and absorb. So we're going to start giving you the tools on how to be more accountable in your life so that we can start moving you forward to the next phase of the next quarter, because the next quarter is going to be very, very empowering. This is going to be really diving in and getting into our heads so that we can make life happen, make it happen for this year, for 2023.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. Hope you all have an absolutely beautiful weekend. Have fun, take care of yourselves, do something absolutely fabulous for yourself. And don't forget to tune in to Viva next week on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes,
So
and share.
From the badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Mi gente. And tell you, if anybody hasn't told you that that you are loved, look in the mirror and whisper the words.
That's right.
I don't need to tell you. You tell you. And with that, remember, mi gente, to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.